All right, let's get right to the heart of this thing.
Don't fight it, son. Confess quickly.
Strange women lying in ponds, distributing swords is no basis for a system of government.
It's evil! Don't touch it!
That was only one of the many occasions on which I met my death.
Hello, welcome to Framework. This is John, one of the hosts of Framework. With me, as always, the other host of this program, Al Schwartz. Good morning, Al. How's it going?
It's going well, primarily because I don't go in for all that papist claptrap, and I can put a little rubber sock on the end of my John Thomas.
Mm-hmm. But they cannot. All right, so we're talking about the meaning of life here. The film, Monty Python's The Meaning of Life. Directed by Terry Jones, notably, not Terry Gilliam, but this is part of the Gilliam coverage we're doing, in part because, well, frankly, it's just a Monty Python film, and it's an interesting movie in some ways, and we want to kind of cover it, but also there's some Terry Gilliam directed stuff in this film, and it is notable. This is the third official Monty Python film. I mean, now for something completely different is technically a movie, but I don't know. It's just such a sketch show that no one thinks of it that way.
I think, aren't those just actually repurposed sketches from the show?
Are they? It might be the case. I didn't double check that, so I'm not entirely sure. It certainly feels like that. Whereas this is basically a new sketch film.
Yes.
And unlike Holy Grail and Life of Brian, it is purely, Kentucky Fried Movie style, just kind of sketches, loosely assembled based on, the journey of life, I guess you'd say.
Which is as loose of a connecting tissue as you could possibly put over something.
Absolutely. There's some philosophy applied here, I would imagine,
there is.
But yeah, I mean, I would say all the most memorable parts of the film are kind of unrelated to that.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's such a broad umbrella that anything could be related to it. That Mr. Creosote could be a comment on Epicurean philosophy, I guess. But,
could it?
Life is, I think, a little too big to even be considered a theme.
Right. I mean, it is structured in a way like birth, childhood, adulthood, the experiences of adulthood, aging, and death. That's sort of the idea, I guess.
You can tell they don't really even believe in that as an organizing structure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the issue with this movie, I think. These are, I think, there's some good sketches in here. It's not weak material or anything, but
some of it
is hard not to rate it lesser because, I mean, they've already done the more ambitious, I guess, narrative Python movies. Like they did Life of Brian, they did Holy Grail, where they had an overarching actual plot, and so this is just 3 episodes of Flying Circus stitched together, and that feels like a bit of a regression, inevitably, and even more so, I guess, when we're looking at the context that we are, which is going through tracking this director's development chronologically. This does not feel like a step forward from Time Bandits or Life of Brian.
Certainly not. It does have, I don't know. I'm looking for stuff. There's classic bits in here, is I think the best you can say about this movie. There are some excellent scenes. There's also some scenes that don't land, which is unusual. Life of Brian and Holy Grail don't really have those. Not really. There's some bits are funnier than others, but, they're all kind of classic there. This one distinctly has stuff that doesn't work.
Yeah, I think the other part for me that kind of makes it hard to rate this super high is that there are a few iconic bits in this movie, and I don't know that any of the iconic bits are what I would choose for the funniest parts of the movie.
Right, Mr. Creosote would be the obvious thing there. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
None of these sketches are the best of their careers. They're bad. I would say they've lost their touch, but they're just a bunch of pretty good sketches. And I think, you're coming off the inspired madness of Holy Grail and the cultural impact of Life of Brian. That bar's been raised higher than 3 decent episodes of Flying Circus. And like Mr. Creosote is definitely the most iconic, like the most memorable thing about it, but I don't really laugh at that bit.
It has some bits when he's stepping in the bucket, and there's some fun. But it
Cleese
is
is
gross
getting
out.
a couple chuckles. Yeah,
It's what's memorable about that scene is not how funny it is. Exactly, it's that it's legitimately disgusting.
Yes, I think after that, the next like most memorable part is Every Sperm is Sacred,
Right.
which is pretty funny. But big musical numbers are rarely like my favorite part of a comedy movie.
The fun of that sketch, the funniest part of Every Sperm is Sacred is early on when Palin is trying to do like the choreography, but there are too many children on the ground for him to actually do any of it. That's like a funny bit. And then it does fully just turn into Mary Poppins, and it was like, well, we were already there, kind of,
Yes, and they're just the second verse is kind of the same as the first, even. Which is that's a time thing. I think when you're making a movie primarily to be shown in the theater, you can repeat the verse of a song because people are going to be laughing through the first verse quite a bit. And like another I think sort of famous thing from this movie is the big topless women execution thing. And
Sure. Right.
that is something that I made an impression in the VHS era, but
No doubt.
that's basically dead air in a post-internet world. Topless women is not scandalous or like or hard to
Notable.
come by.
It's not notable. Yeah.
It's not yeah, exactly. For all of that,
For all that.
I think like my favorite part of this movie is like the church stuff at the school, which I think is like religious satire on par with anything in Life of Brian. The obsequious prayer where they're just fawning over God. Oh, you are so big, and they're all repeating it in chorus, and then apologizing for our dreadful toadying. Like, but you're just so big, and like that is also like, that's a bit of religious satire that they hadn't really hit in Life of Brian, actually.
Well, it's sort of an endless font for them. That's exactly the sort of thing they would, they're good at going after, with the specific wrinkle of Anglican social mores that is so uniquely British and of that time for them. But I don't know, it still translates pretty well. Like it's.
I think it's a little timeless. I mean, it's something that it just strikes a chord with me that like it's always something I found fundamentally absurd about, monotheistic religion is that this all-powerful God is so needy that they need, that they care if we're sucking up to them well enough.
Mm-hmm. He's upset if you say "goddamn," stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not about like if I'm being good to other people or am I being kind of being mean. It's about am I kissing enough ass up there? Like that ass is fine. I think it's supposed to be it's supposed to be impossible for me to harm that ass anyway. But
he's pretty insecure if I can have an effect on him. That old God.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, look, they're not done with the religious satire in this. Obviously, Every Sperm is Sacred is Roman Catholic stuff, and then there's then the Protestant guy across the street. That's one of my favorite performances in this. It's just Graham Chapman doing that run. It's very funny. It's among the more funny bits that Graham Chapman ever got to do, maybe because he's not just doing straight man shit there.
Oh yeah, I mean it's good stuff. One of my favorite bits of performances in this, right at the end, in the otherwise like not very successful "Death Comes to the Cottage" sketch. That's a long sketch with not enough payoff for me. But Michael Palin's performance as the wife who's like very pleased with herself whenever she thinks she's posed to stump her to death.
Well, these guys are always on point with their performances. Is the thing. Like this crew in particular finds the comic life of any scene. For the most part.
Yeah.
If it's Terry Jones playing a grotesque woman, he's going to nail it to the wall, no matter what. If John Cleese is playing sort of an officious administrator of some kind, who's irritated to be there, it's money in the bank every time.
Yes, the sex ed thing with Cleese, and
I don't know how funny it is. It's sure fucking weird, though.
I think it's very. I mean, just the way that the whole game of that sketch, where like they're sitting quietly, and then the kid at the door is like, "Oh, here he comes," and then they start acting up because they need to like play their role, and it's just everything's reversed, and then the whole idea of the British lecturing school system format can make anything boring, even live penetrative sex. I don't know. I always love the way as you can see, the penis is more or less erect, and he will proceed. That more or less kills me.
Yeah, there are sketches here that kind of just die on the vine. I mean, the World War I thing with Palin as the drill instructor. You know, that's nothing to write home about.
Exactly.
The battles with the Zulu and everyone's being very proper. You know, okay, got the joke. I'm just the tiger hunt. You know, stuff like that.
The tiger hunt itself does get me a little bit. But yeah. Yeah, you're right. These would be, first season Flying Circus.
Sure.
These would not be highlight sketches. And I think by elevating them to this is our big screen movie, they kind of have to be on the par with, the Argument Clinic or the Dead Parrot or whatever.
I would agree. I think that is ultimately the thing why this movie is not a great film like the last two. This is kind of just almost a curio at this point. It's good enough and has some really standout moments, but yeah, I was surprised how little of this I retained because it'd been a little while since I watched it. And then there were some scenes where I was just like, the Hawaiian dungeon theme restaurant, for example, like that was just like memory hold for me. I was like, what is this? It's kind of funny. I like Cleese as the American waiter. That's a funny performance.
Cleese is doing good waiters in this. He's doing his accents.
But that's sort of a thinker sketch, I guess, because they have a menu of topics of conversation, and it gives sort of this this middle-class British couple an opportunity to actually sit down and discuss meaning of purpose, and they're kind of too banal to actually get anything out of it. They just have nothing to say on the matter. There's an idea there, but it's taking place in a themed restaurant and the theme is Hawaiian dungeon.
Right, medieval English dungeon, but also Hawaiian. It's just a hat on a hat. It doesn't add.
It's just
those
bizarre.
Don't contrast in any interesting ways. It's just, I think they realize like there's not enough going on in this sketch. You have to add some additional absurdity. I mean, that's part of the problem. That's a sketch that by design has to die on the screen because it has to get to the point where they have to send back the conversation and say, "Wait, this conversation's not very good." And that I think that would have played better on Flying Circus.
Yeah, probably.
Where like a studio audience that is like not liking it, and then the turn could be like a little delighted with the idea. Oh, this sketch is actually ahead of us being against it.
I suppose. I mean, that would have been fine as a Flying Circus sketch. It's fine in the context of this film. I'm not mad at it. It's kind of interesting. No. It's just it doesn't really compare to the what Python is capable of, I suppose. Right. There are things that I like a lot that are fairly one note or small, like the fish tank thing with where it's just 60 seconds of fish saying hello to each other. Is morning, and then they're like, wait, our life has no meaning. End of sketch.
Like, Steven's being eaten or something like that. Yeah.
So that's all right.
Yeah, but like I said, none of it's on the top tier of Python. So, I mean, so this becomes kind of a curio. And I think for us, it's a curio in terms of the Terry Gilliam sort of going backwards to Python a bit. I would say that watching in this context, there is a fair bit of Gilliam seeping through in some of these sketches. I mean, right at the top, obviously, there's the entire short film that he directed, and that is clearly his baby.
I mean, he's making Brazil at the time of when he does this as well. This comes after Time Bandits, which he was also working on Brazil during. So this is plainly the same exact sort of creative run that gave us that film, and it's the same idea basically. Which is the Crimson Permanent Assurance, the sort of gorgeous, inventive set of sort of elderly office workers rising up against reality and modernity and turning their office into a pirate ship and setting sail on the high seas to go sack other office buildings.
Yes.
I love this, actually. I think this is wonderful.
I like that it crashes into the rest of the movie in the third act. I mean, such as there is an act structure to this collection of sketches. But circling back, the Pulp Fiction aspect of that. Now we're back in the diner that we were at the beginning. It was kind of fun.
To just kill them again, specifically. Yes. Like, yeah, I mean, this is all the stuff that Gilliam is very preoccupied with at the beginning of his career, you know, which is the soul crushing nature of modern life and bureaucratic systems and being forced to perform any sort of menial labor or tasks. You know, any sort of responsibility of that nature is just soul death, essentially. This is quite literally presents office work and clerical work as slavery. Like it is cross-cut with a slave ship from Ben-Hur.
Right. Yes. And I think the thing that is very distinctive about Gilliam and the darkness of his work is that there is no escape from that. Like there is maybe some like brief flights of childish fancy, but ultimately there's nothing. And Meaning of Life brings that to for because it presents heaven as this sort of antiseptic resort hotel, which you can tell he's also not very enamored with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's banal
even
as
the
well.
Afterlife is yeah. So even heaven has been polluted by modernity and the banality of all that. It's what I get from this.
There is the escape hatch of fantasy, though.
Yes,
there is the way out is this is your imagination. It's being creative. It is it is no fuck it. We're turning this office into a pirate ship. These fanblades are now cutlasses, and and I'm going to use this spike that holds pieces of paper as a weapon, and we're just going to go kill that guy. We're going to kill that boss. Fuck him. The younger generation, the American businessmen. Let's kill them. It's
precisely Don Quixote stuff.
Very. I mean, even that they're old. And I love that. Just the imagery of this sequence alone. The scaffolding outside turning into sails, and just this building sailing through a sea of derelict skyscrapers. Looks like something out of homemade AI. Not AI, the Spielberg film, AI, artificial intelligence. And they have the first weird little song of the movie here.
I do like...
little sea shanty about accounting. Yeah.
Sailing the accountancy. That's good. I mean, I assume that's Eric Idle as much as it is Terry Gilliam. Mm-hmm. But... yes, it's fun stuff. I mean, it's mostly visual. There's not like a lot of dialogue there. I'm sure for some people it just goes on too long and drags. But
certainly.
If you're a Gilliam file, then yes.
Yeah, and this like Time Bandits, it's kind of enamored of old style adventure. This is clearly doing pirate movies, swashbucklers, Errol Flynn shit. But it's also sort of merciless. Like the sketch just ends with them dying, and then they're killed again. And then they return. They don't care about the characters of these guys, even as it
they do. I mean, I guess that's. But that the finale of this is just a button for a sketch, sort of, but also kind of underlines the limits of fantasy as an escape. That even their fantasy, they then just sail off the edge of the flat Earth.
Absolutely.
They reach the literal limit of their fantasy.
Brazil on deck for next, man. I mean, this is part of the thing. Yeah,
that goes into the first sketch, which to me, this is the doctors giving birth sketch, right. Which could be how childbirth works in the Brazil universe. Like,
very much so. There's signed receipts and shit. I assume there's some sort of Thatcherite policy that they're specifically satirizing here. But yeah,
Well,
it is Brazil shit for certain.
Right, Graham Chapman was a medical doctor. I did not know that. I
that's
know
weird.
when he found time to practice before Python started, but
Yeah, and all his drinking and stuff
Yeah.
that he had to get done as well.
oh well, it's the
Cruel.
mid 20th century. People have time could fit drinking and their careers together quite easily, I think.
Yeah.
But
Famously with doctors in some cases. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. But I mean, that whole sketch to me is a pretty good encapsulation of the Gilliam ethos. I think that the doctors are so focused on using all the equipment that they have available, including like, go get the most expensive machine in the hospital in case the administrator shows up. But they're so focused on that they forget about the patient altogether at times. And then she says, "What should she do?" It says, "Oh, you shouldn't do anything. You're not qualified." Like that is very much that sort of modernity. Erasing all the humanity from things that you're just talking about.
Yeah, well, dehumanization. It's a big part of it. Like, I mean, the various forms of getting there. I guess that's, we're going to see shades of that in, well, all his films, really. But, the next run that Gilliam goes on, Time Bandits is sort of a transitional movie. Then the next 5 are just sort of, well, in my opinion, they're lights out masterpieces. But they're all about imagination, fantasy, contrasting the dehumanization and lack of identity that the modern world has, that
realism
offers.
That stuff is in Time Bandits too, though.
Oh yeah,
like the Jim Broadbent stuff and the parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Time Bandits is sort of like on the road there, though. I feel like it's going there. It's what we're all about from this point on.
It's certainly going to be honed to a sharper point for Brazil. Like, that's as sharp as that gets.
It very much is. So, that's the big connective tissue, I think, from Meaning of Life, that ties this so specifically to the Gilliam filmography. Well, yeah, that makes sense. It's the part he literally directs. But, his voice is so evident there. And I think that you can kind of pick that out as being such an important part of the whole Monty Python thing, and credit it largely with for Gilliam, the extent to which they are exploring those themes about the sort of soul death that modern life creates, and the absurdity of our little systems and routines and clerical exchanges that we make necessary. That's
not that the other guys are uninterested in that stuff.
No, they're into it. They're into it. But it's just a point that clearly resonates with Gilliam.
Yes, it becomes the focal point of his solo career. There's an animated interstitial later in this that also encapsulates that really well, I think. And as one of my favorite bits, that's the cartoon of the tree leaf that's like carrying on like a man about to jump off the ledge before it falls off the tree. And then his wife is screaming. She can't live without him, and she screams all the way down. It's a very, very succinct bit of Gillianism, I think. It's and makes this sort of larger point that, one death is a tragedy and a whole tree full of deaths when they fall at the end is a statistic, which feels very Gilliam-ish to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Death is frequently a joke, like a grim one, but always, more or less. Well, that's not always. Always.
Pretty much. But also, Python's made that point more saliently in Life of Brian, with the always look on the bright side of life.
Right.
Says explicitly that life's a joke and remember the last joke's on you.
What do you think of the songs in this film? There's quite a few. Probably.
Every Sperm Sacred is good. Really?
I really like the Universe song. I think that's a kind of a lovely little moment in a kind of a Duff sketch about the liver removal guys. Yeah. But then when Eric Idle comes out of the refrigerator and him and Terry Jones as a grotesque woman just sort of go on a little
cosmic jaunt.
Yeah, just a happy little walk through the universe. This sort of bubbly little song plays. He crawls back into the refrigerator, and she has her liver removed. That's fun. One of the more memorable bits of the film.
It's a decent enough song. again, I feel like Always Look on the Bright Side of Life has already kind of made these points that it is making in a stronger context. So it's not gonna be the top of Python songs even.
I think it's got a bit of a cult following.
Every Sperm is Sacred definitely does.
Well, sure, yeah. And I don't know. There's a few others that I don't remember so well in there. I had the album. I remember a lot of them pop up on that the Monty Python's songs album, which
Yeah, there's an opening theme song, which is fine, I think.
Yeah, that's a good one. Mm-hmm. Sounds like Life of Brian's opening theme,
Very
which
much
is
so.
I really like. I don't know.
But that's what I'm saying. It's impossible at this point not to compare this to all the highlights of Python because it's coming last.
Right.
So everything has to stand up against these prior, successes.
This feels like the thing. This is the last hurrah. I mean, I guess they reunite occasionally to do stuff on stage, but there's no more filmed Python entertainment after this.
Yeah,
not officially. There's certainly overlappy kind of moments. The individual members will join up time to time. Spam-a-lot happen, stuff like that. But this is the last movie. This is the end, and it feels it. It feels like they're all kind of growing out of it. Their careers are going in different directions. They're all kind of hitting in some form or another. Cleese is going to be starring in movies in a few years. Everyone's got their own projects at this point. Brazil is on deck. Terry Jones is going to go on to do other movies as well. I told you about this in advance. Did you, by any chance, watch Eric the Viking?
I watched the first half of it on Tubi, and I didn't have time to finish it.
You get the gist. Okay.
Takeaway was that it's almost felt exactly like Jabberwocky, but with a medieval Norse tint instead of a medieval Anglo-Saxon tint.
Yeah. That's not a bad way of thinking of it. It is. It's a very weird movie, and it is very plainly Jones trying to do a Terry Gilliam film. Mm-hmm. This is his stab at kind of doing a bigger project, with that resonates as a movie. I guess Jabberwocky is probably the thing that makes most sense because that's, it's similarly folklore and Dark Ages and sketch based and stuff. But he's really going for stuff. There is a lot of characters in that movie. There's a lot of plot. There are many sort of character arcs that are occurring within the larger plot, which is Tim Robbins as a Viking trying to end the age of Ragnarok and bring peace to Earth. And it's full of monsters and shit and ambition. It's a really ambitious movie. It doesn't work at all.
Right.
There's a lot of bad comedy. And I've meant a lot to me as a kid, and I was very curious to rewatch it for this. And, and there's so many ideas there. Like that by ending the age of Ragnarok, that changes the economic reality for Vikings. So there are Vikings that join the crew specifically to stop him so that the blacksmith market does not implode. There's a level of thought taken here to everything going on in this movie that just ends up not translating it anyway. Meaningful stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And so I kind of admire this movie in a weird way. I mean, it's just a bizarre film. It starts with a 7-minute rape joke. For God's sake.
Yeah. It didn't strike me as very successful. I don't know that I laughed during the 45 minutes of it I watched. It's kind of a shame because I wanted this to be a kind of a sneaky, good movie because the biggest revelation of our Gilliam series so far to me has been how much I underappreciated Terry Jones as part of the Pythons, and he is sneakily one of the best performers. Maybe it's because they lean so heavily on the grotesque ladies, like you're talking about. But man, he's been consistently making me laugh with those shrieking grotesques.
Well, did you get to his section of the film as an actor, Eric the Viking?
Yes, that's where my daughter woke up and I had to stop.
The resolution of that, basically they live on a mythical land called High Brazil, which is kept. It's a floating island of splendor, kept afloat by the fact that no crimes can be committed upon it, and if they are, it will sink into the ocean.
Does it sink at the end?
Yeah,
I'm
of course.
That's how it resolves.
But,
Yeah.
one of the Vikings kills another Viking, and it sinks into the ocean. And all the High Brazilians, led by Terry Jones, are like, "Well, this can't actually happen. This is not happening. So there's no reason to panic." And they just sort of, sink into the ocean as they are denying it's happening. So like they're sticking their head above water. It's, "Oh, no, it's really nothing to worry about." And then they disappear. It's very Python.
Yeah.
And feels pointed and
doesn't have any resonance in the modern day.
Precisely, yeah. So there are many ideas in this movie, and that's why I want it to work more than it does. They got a giant dragon shows up that looks like an anglerfish the size of a house, and it's just a poorly made scene, and it doesn't work, even though they built the goddamn thing. It still doesn't work.
It's like the Jabberwocky held back the Jabberwocky until the end, and I was like, "Oh, I'm satisfied with what I saw there."
All right.
Anyway. But you know what you're saying about that? You want this movie to work better and all that. Like, that's kind of how I feel about Meaning of Life as well. Only,
I agree.
Like, it works. Meaning of Life does still basically work. Like, I just want it to be on par with the classics.
Well, this is the Jones thing a little bit. I mean, I'm crediting him with, Meaning of Life, but, I think you can look at his other films as well. And I think the thought is there, like the intentionality and the philosophy and just the, desire to get something real across that Gilliam has. It's there with Jones. He just doesn't have the technical acumen to do it. It's hard to make movies, especially hard to make great movies that resonate with people. And it's difficult to, give a prescribed way to make this thing land. Like I said, there's so much thought in the Eric the Viking script. They meet the gods at the end, and they're played by like these sort of like little Lord Fauntleroy children, with these like big blonde wigs. It's like, "Oh, I'm Odin and this is Thor," and they're all powerful, but they're babies and they want their playtime. It's ideas. It's big ideas.
Yeah. Well, those are Gilliam-esque ideas too.
Yeah.
The idea that there is a structure to the world. It's dehumanizing and also not very well thought out.
Mm-hmm.
So
cynical.
Coming from godchildren it's less technologically based than we associate with Brazil and Gilliam's other thing. But I don't know, like that Munchausen and Time Bandits do have gods presented in
certainly
not that particular light, but that's another iteration of it. Yeah,
it is. And this is why I was curious to watch this thing again. And he went on to make some more stuff of this type. He does a Wind in the Willows adaptation that, is, just kind of nightmarish, honestly, if you look at it. It's live action with like, I think Palin plays the rat and Terry Jones plays Mr. Toad, and they have unsettling makeup, it's shit like it, he's kind of like, he's moved off of ambition at that point. He's just kind of trying to make, children's films for English people. And, that's sort of the direction his career takes. So, he's kind of what Gilliam could have been, I would say. Except Gilliam, well, his next film was Brazil. And that's sort of a seismic moment culturally, at least for him. And it does set him on a path. And I don't know. I'd say it's a sustaining and relevant film to this day. I'm very excited to talk about it.
Yeah, that's one of the big ones. I mean, that probably is the one that looms largest in this whole filmography.
Yeah, not my favorite, but it's certainly the most Gilliam of all the Gilliams.
Yes. Yeah. But we'll do that probably not next week. We'll probably have a gap between. But
probably.
This will just be a short Meaning of Life one.
That's it.
Turns out the Meaning of Life is actually pretty simple. That's actually how the movie Meaning of Life resolves too. Phelan reads that.
Okay, very quickly. What do you think the meaning of life is, Al?
It's, kind of like what Palin says at the end. It's just kind of the campsite rule. Try and leave things better than you found them.
I think it's always been very self-evident to me that the meaning of life is you get to choose the meaning. It's up to you. That's what's cool about it. And it would be terrible if it were anything else.
Yeah. I guess in a broader perspective, I think that, as far as I can tell, we are the only intelligent life in the universe, or we are
Maybe.
it's so vanishingly rare that we are the only one in this in the pocket of the universe that we will ever have access to in a million years, and because of that, we are. It's sort of magical that we are alive at all, and that we can think about that and do anything. That there is consciousness in one tiny speck and one brief moment of the universe is kind of amazing. And if we can appreciate that, great. If we can't appreciate that, still better than the alternative. And just try and keep that flame going a little longer and maybe make things a little easier on other people as we go.
Lovely. Good. That's it. That's the end of the episode. Thank you all for listening.
Strange women lying in ponds, distributing salt is no basis for a system of government.
It's evil! Don't touch it!
That was only one of the many occasions on which I met my death.